Military in politics. Military role played a great role and influence in third world politics, such that it cannot be ignored. In many of these countries, the military has been in power for a long period of time, if not more than the civilians. Also, in some countries where they have not directly intervened, their role in stabilizing the politics cannot be ignored. Many third world countries can be regarded as being Praetorian. Praetorian is a word frequently used to characterize a situation where the military class of a given society exercises independent political power within it by the virtue of an actual or threatened use of force. The 1960s could be said to be the decade of African independence. It was also the era of military coup in Africa. Not long after independence, these emerging states and their citizens were held hostage by a new tradition of military rule. Military rule terminated the new democracies in Africa before they took root. Frequent military rule have retarded political and economic progress of Africa. Today, the tendency is toward re-establishing democracy in all countries of the continent. All over the world, there is a movement towards democracy, and as a result of this, military government is seen as being anachronistic or being medieval. The international community looks at any military dictatorship with disdain. Such countries are treated as pariah nations. Military involvement in politics is usually through a coup d'etat. A coup d'etat is a sudden and arbitrary change of government by a group of people, while a military coup is the act of changing the government by the armed forces or the military establishment. Therefore, what are the reasons for military coup? Political culture theory. Societies that have low political cultures are prone to military coup. These are societies where political culture have not been institutionalized or weakly institutionalized, and the dominant political norms or rules of the game have not been sufficiently internalized. It is therefore argued that since the structures are weak and the people are not used to the game, it is and its rules, it is susceptible to abuses which may lead to a system collapse and probably military coup. The reference group. The major premise of the theory is that an individual behavior tends to be conditioned or influenced by the behavior of those he admires. Based on this, coup d'etat will take place in a nation. It will rule performance of the political leadership fall short of the expectation of the leadership of the military. And when the military feels it is comparatively disadvantaged relative to the other groups it compares itself to, the custodian theory. It states that the military is the custodian of the country constitution, and as such we always intervene when it is grossly abused by the government in power. This theory is based on wrong assumption. The military role is not to protect the constitution, but to protect the country from external aggression and the internal insurrection. The military therefore intervene when the affairs of the state is not conducted according to the provisions of the constitution. Other reasons are corruption among the political class, the unreliability of the electoral process as a result of rigging and thuggery, interference in government in military administration, including promotion, appointment, and transfer, overt attempt by government to indoctrinate the military with an alien ideology, creation of rival organizations or army, such as the Presidential Guard or People's Militia or the Civil Police, regionalization of the politics, the tribalizing and politicizing the army, as well as maladministration. The characteristics of the military government are suspensions of the constitution, dictatorial form of government, highly centralized system of government, rule with decrees, absence of opposition, fusion of legislative and executive arm of government, use of force or coercion in implementation of policies, absence of election, inclusion of civilians in administration, closure of the country's border, imposition of dusk-to-dawn curfew. Now, what are the types of military involvement in politics? They are relative passivity and ascension for political interference, which was confined to the immediate post-independence period. The army remained under a substantial expatriate influence, which made it very difficult for the army to meddle in politics. It was a period of non-political army. The second type of involvement saw resentment against European officers and African political leaders explode mutinies. These were not intended at unseating the government in power, they were aimed at forcing the government to adopt certain their policies. Coup d'etat. The third stage brought full-scale and military involvement in politics. Occupants of presidential palaces were removed while the imitators took over complete governance. Other theories are direct military participation theory, the influential theory, militarized social society theory, comparative theory, and constitutional theory. The direct military participation theory explains that the direct intervention of the military in policies is as a result of failure of the political class to solve societal problems ranging from corruption, inefficiency, tribalism, and economic crisis. Influential theory. There are countries where the military is not directly in power but plays a major role in government. An example is Israel. That influence emanates from the resilience in national security. In such nations, most issues are seen from the angle of national security. They militarize their theory. In countries that adopt this theory, there's an attempt to militarize the society to the extent that defense is seen not as a duty of the military but that of the entire society. Libya is a very good example of such country. The cooperative theory. Some countries have worked out arrangement of sharing power between the civilian and the military with the result that there is a high rate of stability in the system. In Egypt, the tendency has been that the leader will be a military while the prime minister will be a civilian. The constitutional theory here, the military usually intervene to enforce the constitution. Hope you enjoy this topic. Now, what you can do is click on that notification button and also subscribe to the channel so that when videos come up next time, you are going to be one of the first few people to receive the information. Click on that subscription button, click on that subscription button, and leave your comment as well as click on the notification buttons. Thank you so much.